Hello.
Thank you, Arjun, for the session. I guess, Jatin, you can take over the session.
Yeah.
Jatin?
Hello. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. I'm here. Good evening to everyone here. I'm Jatin Patil. I'm a student of the Metallurgical Materials Engineering Department, and I'm currently in my third year, studying here at NITK Surathkal. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes,
you're
yes.
audible.
Okay.
You're audible.
So I'll be presenting the simulation of the severity of quench experiment. So before we start off with the experiment, let's start with a question. Earlier, Atisha had mentioned about the importance of corrosion-resistant properties in surgical instruments. But apart from the corrosion resistance properties in surgical instruments, it's also important that these surgical instruments have high hardness. Now, how do we impart this hardness required? Anybody? So the answer lies in changing, heat treatment, correct. So the answer lies in changing the structure of the material, which can in turn bring a change in the properties. So let me just present. Is the screen seen? So this experiment demonstrates how heating followed by rapid cooling can impart hardness. So heat treatment involves heating or cooling procedures to extreme temperatures to achieve desirable properties. Quenching is the rapid cooling of the workpiece to obtain the material properties. Now, as you can see in the graph given over here, when different quenchants are used, like the ice water, which is brine solution, water, oil, we impart different hardness to the sample. So in case of brine solution, it has the maximum hardness. The pre-test, procedure, and post-test has been explained by Atisha, so I will now be proceeding to the simulation of the experiment. So the objective of this experiment is to study the hardness of medium carbon steel samples when they're heat treated and then quenched in annealed conditions, normalized conditions, water quench conditions, ice quench conditions, and oil quench conditions. The apparatus involved are a furnace at 910 degrees Celsius, tongs, Rockwell hardness testing equipment, beakers, oil quenching and ice quenching mediums, electric hot air blower, cotton, and 2% nitrile reagent. You can click on the description over here to view three important terms which are required to understand this experiment. The eutectic temperature. The eutectic temperature is the temperature at which a reaction where a liquid of any material is converted into two solid phases, namely alpha and beta. Here they are the phases of a binary alloy. Quenching, as I've explained earlier in material science, is rapid cooling of a workpiece in a quenchant to obtain specific material properties. And martensite, which is the most important term over here, is a hard and brittle phase. So it's a phase which is a solid solution of carbon and iron, and it's the main constituent of any hardened steel. The microstructure is usually needle-like, and it depicts its brittle nature. So first we obtain 6 samples. One of them will be used as a reference sample. We switch on the furnace and preheat the furnace to 910 degrees Celsius. Once it's preheated, we open the door and place all the 5 samples inside the furnace with a pair of tongs. It's important to note that we are austenizing the samples. Austenizing involves taking all these heating all these samples above the eutectoid temperature, which is 727 degrees Celsius, and we're austenizing for a total of 30 minutes at 910 degrees Celsius. This 30 minutes is done so as to ensure uniform austenization, after which we switch off the furnace. We then open the furnace and start quenching the samples. So with a pair of tongs, we grab the samples and we start putting them in oil quenching, in oil, water, followed by brine, The fourth sample, which is normalized conditions, will be air cooling, and annealing conditions is furnace cooling. Now we're bringing down the temperature over here to 400 degrees Celsius. This is way below the 727 degrees Celsius, which is below the eutectic temperature. So no phase transformations can take place anymore. After which we remove the sample, and then we expose it to the atmosphere. So once all the samples are cooled to room temperature, we need to polish and then observe the microstructure, followed by we need to get their hardness values. So as mentioned earlier, we need, for uniform austenization, we austenize it for 30 minutes. This has been depicted in earlier experiments as well. We belt grind the sample so as to get rid of the major scratches, followed by polishing. So we start with 1/0 polishing paper, then 2/0, 3/0, followed by the 4/0 polishing paper. As we keep using 1/0, 2/0, 3/0, 4/0 polishing paper, we'll be getting rid of more and more minor scratches. We'll have a close to mirror finish. Then we'll proceed to disc polishing. In disc polishing, we pour alumina solution, place the sample on the disc polisher, and switch on the disc polishing equipment. The alumina abrasive continuously polishes the specimen given here until we obtain a mirror finish, after which we switch off the disc polisher, and then we clean it with water and dry it with an electric hot air blower. For etching, we use 2% nitrile, which is the etchant which is used in the previous experiment. So we open the cap, soak the cotton swab with 2% nitrile reagent, and then we proceed to etch the sample. We then place these specimens under a microscope, optical microscope, and we proceed to observe the microstructure. The arrows given here enable us to view the microstructure under different magnification. This is for annealed sample at 100x, and this is for annealed sample at 500x. Similarly, we can view the microstructure under normalized condition, ice quench condition, oil quench condition, and water quench condition. The medium which gives the most severe quench, as I've shown in the graph earlier, is ice brine. After we note the microstructural features, we will try to relate these microstructural features with the hardness. So we'll now proceed to getting the hardness numbers. We will be using the Rockwell hardness C scale for this purpose. We will mount the specimen on the Rockwell hardness C scale and hover the mouse over this arrow to apply the minor load. Once the minor load of 10 kg is applied, which is given over here, we then adjust the major load of the scale. Once the major load is adjusted, then we proceed to pull the lever and we apply the load for 15 seconds. Once we reach 15 seconds, we pull the lever again and release the load. These are the obtained hardness numbers after testing it under Rockwell hardness C scale. Observations. The slider over here can be used to observe the microstructure of the sample at 100x and at 500x. And the options over here can be used to see the microstructure of the different samples. The hardness values over here are from the Rockwell hardness C scale. So it can be seen that the ice quenched sample has the highest Rockwell hardness number. Now these Rockwell hardness values can be directly correlated with the microstructural observations. Higher fractions of martensite are observed in better quenchants, which is more severe quenchants, which is the ice brine in this case, and which results in higher hardness values. Thank you. I would like to thank our professors, Dr. K.V. Gangadharan and Dr. Prithviraj Yu, for their continued support throughout the development of this virtual lab. Our mentors Aishwarya Shetty ma'am and Aishwarya Hegde ma'am for their guidance. I would also like to mention the members of the software team, Rohit Hallakatti and MR Ashrit, who have provided us with the support in developing this virtual lab. I would also like to express our gratitude towards the Faculty of Metallurgical Materials Engineering Department, NITK Surathkal, for the support and guidance throughout the development of this virtual lab. At last, I would also like to thank you all for attending this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Jatin. And I thank all the participants who are there online. So this is the first ever physical metallurgy lab that was under the virtual lab hosted through IIT Bombay via IIT Delhi, which is being experimented. And this lab is under the development stage. And here, what we are doing is like there'll be a set of reviews that will happen through IIT Delhi and its team, and then there will be some sort of revisions that is going to come up. But the team which has developed, as Jatin said, Itasha, Arjun, and the software team, Rohit and Ashit, we are very proud to say that they are NIT students, and no part of this work was been outsourced. It was wholly developed by the students and monitored by the students and mentored by our project staffs, who are also the students who are pursuing their PhD. At the outset, I thank the developers and the participating institute coordinator, Professor Gangadharan, for coming online. I request any of the participants, if they have any questions or queries, can be posted to the development team. The session is open. Any questions? Professor Gangadharan, you have anything to say?
No, I just looked at the presentation. It went on quite well as per me. And I hope the participants have liked it. And we would like participants to spread the word. The virtual lab could help during the lockdown period if you want to experiment or experience experiential learning of any subjects. It's not necessarily a metallurgy subject, because today's webinar was for metallurgy, but otherwise the topics are available. More than 100 labs are available. Each lab may have something like 10 experiments. So you have around 1,000 experiments to play with. And even if you are looking at some other area which you sort of going through, suppose you want some electronics or electrical areas or computer science areas, such labs are also available. So I request all of you to go through and popularize during this COVID lockdown period. Thank you very much. Over to
Thank you, Professor. And there are some queries which has been posted, like do we get the certificates or can this video be shared? Yes, it will be done. We require 1 week's time, because we will be verifying your USN code or the registration code with your college, and then we'll be sending it to you via online. And also the presentations will be stored and shared very soon in our social handles, like in Facebook and a YouTube channel. Yeah. Aishwarya?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anything to conclude?
I would like to thank the students for like whatever queries we had, how the simulation had to be done. They gave us the same thing, so they were very well in their knowledge. So I would like to thank the software team as well as the content development team. Thank you.
Good. Yeah. There's one more question that has come up. That is, will there be a remote trigger lab for the metallurgy experiment? As of now, no, because the government is not currently funding the remote trigger lab. Yes, we have for mechanical, and we have for in the civil we have strength of materials lab, which will for which we will be doing the webinar very soon, maybe next week. But remote trigger lab may not happen very soon, because it requires a lot of funding, and the machines has to be kept 24/7, and most of the test has to be like you need to scale it, fine it, and you make it to more robotic based machines wherein which it will be automated. So all those will add a cost. It may not happen down the line very soon, but the existing remote trigger labs on civil and mechanical from the Department of Applied Mechanics and Mechanical, that is hosted inside Center for System Design, is running. Okay, then we are coming to the end. Thank you all. Thank you once again. There's something that we also need to share regarding, that is virtual labs and the CST, wherein which there are more than 24 project staffs who are running this show. Of course, they may not be related to metallurgy, but there are so many other labs which NITIC has been developed. And they are the core who are continuously running behind this show and making the things up run, whether it's hosted in IIT Hyderabad or web server or IIT Bombay server or anywhere else through the ministry, and making the things to up, clarifying all the thoughts that have been there, the questions that have been there, and continuously doing the webinars during the lockdown period from the place at where they stay. And CST, as Aishwarya had mentioned, was converted from an R&D center to a production center. We have crossed more than 3,000 face shields and 3D printed face masks given to the frontline staffs, and also to some of the industries which are working continuously. So the R&D machines which were there in CST was being converted into an full-scale production machines, where the machines ran up to more than 22 hours. And moreover, these two machines which are industry grade was donated by Stratasys 3D printing company by Mr. Rajiv Bajaj, and also the materials totally worth of near to 32 lakhs was being donated to us for the 3 months during the COVID lockdown period. And the machines are been extensively running, and the production is happening. Also, some of the machines which we already had, like laser cutters and some 3D printers, were also being put into full swing, wherein which we are able to mark the demands of the DC, or it can be the frontline staffs, or it can be security staffs that were there, and hope to continue better with the virtual labs, as well as also the fight against COVID from CST. Thank you one and all.